Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we've got a 15-win championship challenge guide. This championship challenge is coming out on Friday. Giving you guys a little bit early so you guys can prepare strategies, compositions, get your teammates together, and hopefully get towards 15 wins. So the championship challenge this time around, well, pretty much this year, is a lot more valuable because you get star drops with every single win. So that can really help you with your progression on your account. So without further ado, let's jump into it then. So with set number 1, we have Brawl, Sneaky Field. So you can see the best compositions and other picks on the screen right here in an easy to read graphic. But on Sneaky Field, it is literally in the name, very sneaky. Tank's going to be super good on this map, and of course, because you're going to be facing off against really bad randoms, it's only the beginning. You're probably going to be facing people that are either lagging or just picking Edgar or just dumb brawlers, making sure that you're not trying to overcomplicate things. So the best composition, I went with Jesse in the middle. Jesse's not the best for scouting, but really good with countering tanks, so making sure that you're using a vision gear on Jesse and also the slow gadget so you can confirm kills. You've got Sandy, who can use the rude sand star power to scout out the bushes and just push the opponents all the way back. And Sandy's actually good against tanks still to feed super from. And BB's just so annoying to deal with, especially since the hypercharge edition, and she can win lane against pretty much everyone. And then in terms of other compositions, if you don't want to go with the little bit more of a skillful composition, you can pretty much just go Poco double tank. Poco is super underrated in the meta. Just throw in any tank really. You can go BB, you can go Rosa, you can go Jackie, and you should just be able to bully yourself up the map and win pretty easily because it is sneaky field. A lot of tanks are good here. Again, there's a lot of other good options as well. You know, Nita's really good, especially with the hypercharge recently. Charlie's still a good addition as well. And if you're scared of tanks, you can literally go Ems or Shelly as well. But it literally is the easiest map that you could play for set number 1. Okay, so jumping into set number 2, we have a gem grab hard rock mine. So these are the best compositions on your screen right here. So the best composition in my mind right now is Jean, Sandy, and Rico. So Jean finally is such a strong gem carrier. Again, the addition of the hypercharge just allows him to make more plays, and of course scouting the bushes with the vision gear is just so essential for map control overall. You've got Sandy, who might struggle a little bit to begin with to get super. Sometimes there's some brawlers that are really good at keeping their range, and all like Rico here, but you just need to get in their spawn once or just go one good positioning, and you're just going to wreak havoc with Sandy, get that first super, and then the chaining potential is insane, especially with hypercharge. And of course Rico is just a safe pair of hands on hard rock mine. You can never go wrong, and he's actually pretty good in this meta, especially with multiple launcher. He can counter tanks. You just want to send Rico down the right hand side, use vision gear on him as well, and you can just poke around the right. No one should be able to really sneak up on you if you get the angles right, and then you can also just use your super to destroy the mid as well. So in terms of other good gem carriers, you've got Angelo, who's still really strong in the meta. The good thing about Angelo is that he's got a gadget to get away from potential pulls, potential assassins going in on him. He can jump away to safety pretty easily, and he's still probably the best brawler in the game. You've also got 8-bit with a lot of HP, so you can be super safe with 8-bit. You've also got his turret and the gadget to teleport to safety, whether there's like a Rico super or a gene pool, and then you can go with more risky mids like Max and Bell, who are pretty good. In terms of the lanes, you know, Mr. P is a good option. He's actually sneakily pretty good in the meta. I'm a little bit reluctant to advise him too strongly, just because there's a lot of Eggers and aggro brawlers. So if you're confident Mr. P, you can go him, but be careful of that. You know, Melody's still strong, but I would say you're going to face off against a lot of tanks, so probably stay away from Melody a little bit in the first few sets. You know, Byron can be a good mid as well. Again, if you're scared of tankier options, you can easily still go Charlie. You can just go a tank yourself like Rosa, who can just brute force her way up the map. But with hard rock mine, it's all about making sure that the opponents don't sneak into your spawn, making sure that you've at least got one person trying to create pressure. If he's just constantly getting pinched out, that's still good. That can buy your gem carrier some time in the middle. So now moving on to set number 3, we have hot zone open business. So these are the best compositions on your screen right here. So again, Jesse and Sandy are just so bulletproof on so many different situations right now. Both have hypercharges, which are really strong. Jesse, there's going to be probably a lot of tanks here. You know, if they're going the cheesy gray strategy, then Jesse's a really good counter to that. She's going to be able to cycle her hypercharge so easily, and it's just so many walls where hypercharge can get so much value. Sandy, again, there's so many walls where he can wall peek really well. His sandstorm can just get ultimate control, and you can never go wrong with going Sandy. And then I went with BB as a third pick. You won't believe it, but BB actually is really strong in the meta, and pushed up against the walls, she's super strong, and all it takes is one hypercharge and she can change the game. All 3 of these brawlers, which I really like, charge their hypercharges really quickly, so you can make game-changing plays a lot faster. So if you want to go down a cheesy strategy, you can go 2 cheesy strats. If you're not comfortable with a little bit of the highest skill cap. You can go with Grey double tank. Essentially with Grey, it's all about getting your first teleport and making sure that you put the teleport bang in the center of the zone, making sure that you're not wasting your teleport. If you're the Grey, no matter the situation, just keep the teleport in the middle, and your Jackie, Rosa, Buster, Melody, any aggro brawler needs to keep teleporting in over and over again. And for the most part, it should be too much for the opponents to actually deal with that, because it takes a lot of coordination to beat that composition, and randoms shouldn't be able to deal with that on set number 3. You've also got Poco compositions where you can use Poco, Rosa, Buster, Melody together, and Poco's really good in hot zone right now, super underrated. I'll say Fro's actually really good in open business. The only problem is, again, it is still set number 3, so you might get that odd bad random, which will go Edgar on a really big assassin brawler and just counter you the entire game. So if you're a little bit confident of throws, you can go Barley, you can go Larry and Laurie. They're a little bit better against those assassins, but it is a riskier option. You can go Nita as well. The only problem is with Nita, if you face off against thrower, you're pretty screwed. Whereas if you go like Sandy, BB, you might have some wiggle room, whilst Nita probably doesn't. But again, Nita with the hype charge is pretty strong. So these are your best options. I think you should be pretty bulletproof going Jesse, Sandy, and another brawler. Okay, so jumping into set number 4, we have Safe Zone Heist. So for Safe Zone, it always is about the hypercharges and just getting as much damage as possible. So there's like 4 brawlers I would recommend going pretty much every single time, and that's out of Chuck, Colt, Melody, and Colette. Those are the 4 best brawlers by far on this map. I would say in terms of getting damage quicker and more consistently, I'd say Colt, Melody, and Colette are your best bet, because Melody is so good on Heist. You just got to get your first super and just try and dash straight up to the safe as quickly as possible using a shield gadget and just sit on the safe, making sure that you're rotating anti-clockwise around the high safe to get as much damage as possible. With Colette, of course, you should know how to play Colette by now. Just cycle your supers onto the safe, and then once you get hype charge super, that's 25% to the safe, which is absolutely insane. And Colt, again, just making sure that you're focusing damage on the safe as much as possible. You've got a hyper charge to play with as well, and just overall Colt is pretty solid against everything. If you want to go Chuck, make sure that you're going down the left hand side to begin with, throwing your first post at the enemy side of the lakes in the middle, and then your next post just above the high safe, and then another one closer towards you, making sure that you link all 3 of them. You can throw a 4th if you want, but I won't really recommend it, and just keep going back and forth to the safe. It doesn't take any skill and super easy to use. There's other brawlers you can go as well. If you're a more advanced player, you can definitely go Angelo. Angelo's so good at just floating around the map, just one-shotting so many brawlers, and actually decent counter to brawlers like Chuck. You've also got the likes of Cordelius, a good counter to Chuck. You got Piper, Nanny, you've got all these other options, but I'd say you can never go wrong with the Golden 4. So now we're moving into the 5th and final set. We have Bounty Shooting Stars. So these are the best compositions on the screen right here. So the Shooting Star, again, nothing has really changed too much. Your best options, I would say, that you can never really go wrong with is Tick in the middle. You've got Nanny and you've got Piper. You can definitely maybe go with Angelo instead of maybe Piper perhaps, or Nanny, depending on how you really feel, but you still can never really go wrong with Nanny on Shooting Star, even since the damage nerf. Nanny's always been the best brawler on this map. You've got Return to Sender, which counters all of the other snipers. You've got the super that can one-shot, or at least get close to one-shot in a lot of the other long-range sharpshooters. You've got Piper as well. She can confirm kills easily with her gadget. And then down the middle, I recommend either going a Tick, or you could either go like a Jean if you're a little bit more advanced, or just something along those lines. Main reason being is because you don't want to use another sniper, because if you face against a thrower, the thrower's just going to win mid really easily, get the first star, and just spawn trap you. You could go with Grey, but a little bit more advanced. You could go with Mr. P as well, who's insanely underrated. The problem with Mr. P, it might be pretty hard to first get into the game because it's a super long range map. It's going to take a little bit of a while to get that first super. But once you get your first super, it can cause a lot of pressure. Mr. P is super underrated on Shooting Stars. So make sure you've got Jean, Mr. P, or throw in the middle. Make sure you're doubling that up with some snipers down the side, whether that's Nanny, Piper, Angelo. But Shooting Star, I can't really offer you too much advice because it literally is down to your interactions, whether you're getting kills with your gadgets, trying to make sure that in most builds use the extra gadget gear and also the shield gear as well. In particular, you want 4 Piper gadgets to confirm kills. You want 4 return to senders, so that's literally 4 chances to save your own life. And with Tick as well, making sure that you're pushing forward and using your hypercharge pretty much behind a wall, or at least making sure that the opponents are really far back into spawn. By the time it's the end of the game, that hype charge might be the difference maker and it might win you the game. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.